Hi, everyone. Welcome to College Financial Prep's Preparing for College podcast. Excited to have my colleague and friend, Tony Steuer, with us today. And we're going to be talking about how everyone, the kids, the parents, can best prepare financially for college, getting everything in order. We say this, Tony just wrote a great book. Here it is. Get ready, the Get Ready Blueprint. Welcome, Tony.
Hey, thanks, Vicki. Glad to be here today. Thanks again for having me on.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. Well, you certainly provide a lot of useful information that I'm sure many parents, including me, I'm sure we could all use. Welcome. Yeah, let's dive in.
All right.
Help. Pretend I'm preparing for college. I have a kid going to school next year, a couple of years from now. What would be a piece of advice that you would give?
First, take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. Or as it said in the Hitchhiker's Galaxy, don't panic.
And that's about a lot of things, not even just financially. That's like finding the right schools to apply to, doing the applications. It all comes together.
It all comes together, and like with anything else, it starts with your goals. What do you really want to accomplish? And then coming up with a plan and working the plan. That's the key, is to think about all the factors, because there are a lot to go to college. If spreadsheets are your thing, create a spreadsheet. There's probably websites that walk you through the whole process, but whatever works. But to just start organizing and getting in the mindset of, here's what I need to do and here's how I'm going to do it.
Actually, I'm going to put this out there since you said that. College Financial Prep, we do have blank spreadsheets. If any that will help with college planning. If anybody wants it, feel free to reach out. I'll send you a spreadsheet. But you can track lots of data about the schools, what type of grades you need to get in, what materials they require, SAT scores, all the financial data. It is important to somehow put together a tracker or organizer, help keep track of each college that you're considering or that your child's considering.
100%. And as you point out, and I know this is a core part of the services that you offer, is to think about the total cost of college. Think beyond the tuition. Think about the cost of books, the cost of housing, the cost of food. So your kid wants to go to college in a big metropolitan area. How much is rent going to be for them there? How much are they going to need for everything else? Will they want to fly home? Will you be flying out to see them? So that's the thing, is to think about, go beyond that and think about what is the true net cost of these different options.
Well, right. And then I'll always say to families, in addition to that, you want to think about all the costs going into the first year. Then you want to think about all the costs to send that child to that college for 4 years. And then you want to think about how many children do you have? And then you compare that to whatever your savings are or what money you can put towards the college costs going forward, and figure out what a reasonable budget might be. Plan for what colleges to attend and to apply to.
And you don't want to have your youngest kid sacrifice for the oldest kid to get everything.
Exactly. And I've seen that happen, though. I'm sure it happens plenty. People think it through and don't forget about that last child.
It's easy to forget about the young one. Don't forget about them. They deserve it.
Get Ready Blueprint. Do you want to talk to us about what may help with all the financial planning that families should be doing along the way and helping to achieve goals, including college?
Well, the big thing that I want people to walk away with from the Get Ready Blueprint is to feel empowered to take control of their financial life. And the big thing in the book is that I help people start to think about their approach to different areas of the financial life. Is, in other words, that they can ask the right questions so that they can start to take control of the process. Get Ready stands for G is for goals, E is for educate yourself, and then so on. And E is, for example, for thinking and understanding your mindset. Is debt a good thing or a bad thing? Because debt is a huge decision going into college, and the choice of how much debt you want to take on. Do you hate debt? Do you like debt? Maybe somewhere in the middle, you use debt wisely. But I'd rather people start to think about control the process rather than letting the process take control of me. How do I go in and ask the right questions? And that's a big part of the book is go through weekly action items. But the big thing I want people to walk away is that when they get to each of those weekly action items, they feel like I can take control. I know what questions to ask. I know what to think about. I'm in control rather than process controlling me. Easy.
Let me say this, you brought up debt, and I just want to make sure everybody's aware. Some parents think, oh, that school costs $80,000 a year. Johnny wants to go there. Johnny can pay for the $80,000 a year. And I just want everyone to realize the system doesn't work that way. When the kids apply for their student loans, freshmen can only take out $5,500 in student loans per year. Can they get a private student loan after that? They can, but mom and dad are going to have to be the co-signers. It's just not possible for the parents to not get involved.
Yeah,
If there's like situations or bankruptcy or something, or other factors, but in the main, mom and dad need to get involved.
and remember, this is the first time your young one is experiencing so many things in the financial world, and you need to help them learn about all these different things. They're going to need to think about renter's insurance. Do they get a bank account? They'll need a bank account. Probably going to have a job, and all of a sudden they're an adult and they're in charge of all this stuff, and yet they don't really know what to do. So it's overwhelming. You can help them by walking through it in a methodical process. And not only are you taking control of the process, but your 18-year-old, instead of walking out of college with a lot of debt, high credit card balances, that they can launch successfully into the rest of their life.
Definitely. I think it's important for the parents to be involved in not only the decision where to go for academics and whatnot, but also financially, and to have those conversations as an entire family. I mean, that's how the kids are going to learn.
Exactly. And it is a great way to do financial literacy as a family, is to start to have these conversations and to be open about these things. Is if you don't want to talk about money, you can't be surprised if your kid's making poor financial decisions. You have to talk to them and get them to open up, but you also have to open up yourself as well. If you expect your kids to open up to you, you have to open up to them.
Open up. You don't need to share how much money you're earning every week from your employer. I don't think you need to go into sales, but
No.
but I think it's good to open up about talking about credit cards and dangers of credit card debt, and how it's important that if you can, you pay off the bills every month, because that way you save money on the interest. What are some other tips that parents and kids should have at home?
Well, I think like you talked about is how you manage debt. Is do you take out loans? Do you buy things on a discount? One of the things you talk about is shopping for college with discounts, scholarships or discounts. Is what is your process? Do you wait to the last minute when you have a big goal, or do you put money aside for a big goal? Did you start saving for their college 10 years ago? Did you start saving for it when they were a baby? Those are the kinds of things that your kids are going to absorb and use in their making their own financial choices in their own college experience. Did you put money aside while you were working when you first started working? Or did you just spend every dollar you got? Well, I kind of spent every dollar I got in college, but I can't say I was doing anything different.
But then you
But I
learn.
think exactly, and that's the key, is to explain what you've learned about saving, and not spending every dollar you get while you have your first college job and thinking, wow, I'm rich, I'm king of the world, I'm making $100 a week.
Just to go back to your point, well, 2 points. Saving money from when the kids are babies and toddlers. Just understand, we realize that life happens. It doesn't work for everybody. But that's why, if you haven't been able to save enough for a college education, that makes the financial decisions even more important. As far as scholarships go, that's just one piece of the puzzle. You really want to see what that bottom line, that total cost of attendance, is going to be to attend the schools you're making the decisions. Yes, it's nice when a child gets accepted to college and the letter says, oh, and we're going to give you a $20,000 scholarship. But the school could still cost $60,000 a year. To look at the bottom line numbers after all the aid is awarded.
Exactly. And the other thing is, I keep coming back to this true cost, is cost of a car. Your 18-year-old may or may not have a car, or they're thinking about getting a car. And it's the same thing. They're going to have car insurance. They're going to have registration. They're going to pay for gas. There's going to be repairs. Is That's a good lesson telling them this is how much. Maybe you don't have to go into the specifics of how much your car costs, but like car, we're paying for insurance, we're paying for registration. You're helping them to understand that sometimes one financial decision will have a ripple effect and will include other financial decisions. So look at the whole thing rather than just each little thing in isolation.
For instance, say a child decides they want to attend one school over another. Well, maybe that one school's further away. Are you going to have to worry about paying for airfares now because of that decision? Financial decisions you need to make based on following what you said, the ripple theory. There'll just be more costs.
Exactly. Unfortunately, there usually is a lot more cost to most of these decisions we make.
Tell everybody about the best way to use the book. I love that it's a workbook. It's a guide. Who do you suggest that it's for and how best to use it?
Well, I think anybody can use it, but who I think it's for is for people who really feel like they want to take control of their money, who feel a little bit lost, who don't understand how the different pieces of their financial life fit together. That's what it's for, is because it goes through on a weekly action item basis. This week you're going to look at your bank accounts. Think about it. Are you driving across town to use your bank's ATM so you can avoid that $4 per ATM fee? Well, you're doing that. Maybe you're spending more in gas, or it's just plain out inconvenient. Maybe you want to change banks, your online bank that pays for all your ATM fees. Is all those things where we oftentimes don't think about them because we get so sucked into thinking about our investment portfolio and how our investments are doing. But there's all these different things. Your auto insurance, do you have all the discounts you can get on your auto insurance? It's things like that. And for a college student, it might be college students aren't going to get a lot out of it, but you can work with your college student as you work through it. Like renter's insurance. That's super important. If their computer is stolen, if their bike is stolen, whatever, their personal property, that's not covered by the university, even if they live in the dorms. The university is not responsible.
You could either look at renter's insurance, or there's actually dorm insurance too out there.
And usually, I know with my son, we just enrolled him as a freshman, and it was part of the dorm enrollment process is sign up for the insurance. And how easy is that to do? It's also another cost, but it's also something at the same time that you're thinking about your college students' renter's insurance, you can also think about your homeowner's insurance. Has your property value gone up? Are building costs going up in your area? Do you have enough home insurance? Do you have the right replacement cost for your homeowner's insurance? It is something that you can do together with your college student or in parallel with your college student.
Let's talk about, this is a big topic that usually comes up, helping the kids build credit. Personally, with my own son, I got him a credit card under my name. I don't know, it was one of the Visa or MasterCards, and then eventually got him a Target under my name. And then eventually somehow he built up credit and he was great getting cards on his own. What's your advice on that?
Well, building credit is super important because the credit score is going to dictate the interest rates that you get on loans, on credit cards, even looked at by insurance companies. Sometimes they are supposed to, sometimes they're not, but your credit score is used by a lot of things. And again, to my son's experience is his college has a deal with a credit union. I'm sure every college has a deal with a credit union now. We're getting his bank account and his credit card through the credit union. And that's an easy way to do it. You have an ATM on campus. They're actually used to dealing with college students. This is a college student. Our expectations are we're going to have to walk them through everything, so they'll be a little more patient. But they're on campus. They show up to student affairs. There's somebody from the credit union who can talk to your student about different banking services. That's an easy way to do it, is see what your university or college has, what courses they have for your kids.
Fabulous. Now, for the parents, we started to talk about planning for college. What other financial areas will the book help with? Just in general. There's so many different things that I can think about financially. But just run us through, obviously, retirement. What else should we be thinking about? Because I can't go just to college. We need to think about things too to make sure we're taken care of.
Well, it talks about optimizing your spending. To think about that is my theory is you don't have to give up your daily latte. You don't. Maybe cut back to 2 days a week if you want to save a little bit of money, but you're going to make more money if you trim the expenses on your mutual funds. Where let's say you save 1% on $100,000 in a mutual fund, it's going to save you $1,000 a year. That's real savings. Giving up your latte, one, it's going to be unpleasant if you enjoy your daily latte. And two, it's not going to save you that much money in the long run. If you think about different ways you can save money, because there's only two things you can do to get ahead, is you can either make more money or you can spend less. It's physics. I think it's physics. Can we call it physics? The physics of finance. So those are the things you can do. And then you also talk about ways maybe you can make a little bit of extra money or get your college kid to make extra money. Help them. Those are some of the things. It's the mindset and it's the mindfulness of each transaction that you take. Is if your kid says, well, hey, I want to get these new shoes. These are the best shoes ever. Instead of just smacking your head and going, oh my God, you just got a new pair of shoes yesterday. You don't really need a new pair of shoes. But maybe telling them, there's a choice. This is going to be the impact. You can either put money aside, have money at your next vacation, or maybe towards a car, or you can buy these new shoes. But again, you're empowering them to make their own financial decisions and that to reap the rewards or the pain of whatever decisions they make.
Do me a favor, closing piece of advice. What would you like to, what do you think will help? We're all busy at home, preparing for college, preparing our kids for the next steps, preparing ourselves for next steps. Piece of advice?
One, as I talked about at the beginning, is take a deep breath, but also be curious, is ask questions. If you're being presented with something and you don't understand it, ask questions or don't do it. Is so often you're confronted with saying, like, hey, your kid's going to college. Do you want to take out this Parent Plus loan? Do you want to take out I can't even remember all the different kinds of college financing. You don't understand them. Do some research. There's tons of reading material out there.
College financial prep.
Call college financial prep. The government, the federal government, also has some good information on their website. You use somebody's services like Vicky's, but if you don't understand something, don't do it. Ask questions. It's your right. It's your money. And if somebody doesn't want to answer your questions, that's a red flag that's a person or a company that you don't want to do business with if they don't want to answer your questions to the point where you actually understand the answers. That's my big advice. A lot of
the work that I do. I'm always meeting with clients just to help them familiarize themselves with the process. It's a convoluted process.
Don't feel bad that you don't understand it, because where could you possibly have learned this? If you don't know how to add, well, maybe that's your fault that you didn't study very well in second grade. But this kind of stuff, where would you have learned it?
Right.
I'm curious, ask questions, learn.
And just remember, along those lines, just remember, colleges are businesses. They basically want to sell their seats at their schools. It's like a product. Just understand that it's a marketplace. They're buyers and sellers. That may help understand the process a little bit more.
Exactly. And change the way you think about going to college. That's what your business is.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Tony, for joining us today. Do me a favor, tell everyone where they can find you, find the book.
So you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram, Tony Steuer author, and sort of on Facebook, sometimes not. You can pick up a copy of the Get Ready Blueprint if you can actually see it. Doesn't work real well sometimes for me. On Amazon, it's your favorite online book sale retailer.
Fabulous. I want to thank you, Tony, so much for being here today. And thank you, everyone, for joining us on College Financial Prep's Preparing for College podcast. Take care, everyone.